Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I listen to the conversation today, I'm reminded that we all should doubt our own infallibility, and we should doubt the infallibility of the NIH as well. I'm flabbergasted as I listen to this conversation of people that really have never been involved in the scientific process and that they don't understand indeed the infallibility. When I think of the NIH, the waste that has occurred, and I think of Alzheimer's, the waste is the path we went down since 2005, 2006. Dr. Bhattacharya, do you recall I'm trying to remember, an amyloid study that really, so all the NIH funds went that direction for 20 years, and then we find out, oh my gosh, it was NIH-funded research. You remember that project?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole set of projects, Senator, that have focused by the NIH on a particular hypothesis, the amyloid hypothesis, at the expense of other hypotheses. I agree with you about humility. That's the key to scientific progress. We have to, as scientists, say we might be wrong, because when we meet data that disagrees with us, where we have ideas that we disagree with, maybe that other idea is right and we're the one that's wrong. It's only by, as if I'm confirmed as NIH director, I want to make sure that all the range of hypotheses are supported. That's how you make progress. One of the reasons I think that we have not made progress in Alzheimer's as much as we ought to have is because we've gotten, the NIH has not supported a sufficiently wide range of hypotheses.
And we also have, 8 different supporting institutes studying it. They don't communicate with each other as well. I mean, my guess is when you make a 5-year grant, 20% of those should be stopped after a year because they went down a road, it's a dead end. It's time to start over. I'm glad they're pausing these. I think that there's a significant amount of waste, fraud, abuse, and incompetence in the studies funded by the NIH. Let's talk about chronic disease just for a second. The NIH has spent a disproportionate amount of money on research on diseases that impact a very small, minuscule amount of Americans. Meanwhile, 60% of Americans have a chronic disease. Speak a little bit about your vision of researching for figuring out the causes and treatments of chronic disease, specifically how food as medicine might be intertwined in your vision.
Senator, I think the chronic disease problem is something that the NIH ought to have done a better job at the last several decades. The mission of the NIH is to address the health needs the American people have and to expand life expectancy of the American people. And we have not achieved that. It's flatlined. And you say food as medicine, that's the kind of research idea that would be very difficult, I think, to get research support from the NIH because it's not within the scope of the people who decide what NIH ought to support. I think we should expand the set of ideas to address a problem that we don't know how to address. The chronic disease problems of the United States are so broad that we need to have a lot more tolerance that the top scientists who controlled the ideas in their fields may be wrong. We need to allow other scientists who have other ideas, and food as medicine might be one of them, to have support. I don't know what's going to be the answer, but I do know that if we don't...
Are you committed to helping us figure out the causes of these chronic diseases?
I absolutely am, Senator. I mean, I think that is the heart and soul of the Make America Healthy Again movement, and millions of Americans are being looking to us to do that. If I'm confirmed, I absolutely commit to doing that.
Yeah, and a big part of that is the trust. That thanks to Dr. Fauci, no one trusts the NIH, the CDC anymore. And we need a referee to come in and try to say, well, what is the latest science? Science is never settled. It's always changing. But what is it in ultra-processed food that's causing this uptick in chronic diseases? Speak a little bit about the indirect costs of these situations. Look, I think most of us understand that that's just another grift for universities, and we're paying their unfair share of overhead going forward. But what I'm concerned about is 2/3 of research dollars are funneled to 4 or 5 states, it looks like to me. Just would like your commitment for us flyover states to spread the love a little bit. It'll prevent inbreeding, and hope that you do realize that not every good scientific idea comes from the coast.
Senator, I have scientist colleagues from across the country, and I hear your concern that the NIH ought to be more committed than it has been to making sure that every scientist, no matter where they are, they don't have to be in California or the Northeast Corridor to get support. I absolutely commit to supporting the IDEAS program that the NIH uses to identify scientists.
And just to make an explanation point, the indirect cost in Kansas University or Kansas State are going to be less than the coast. I don't know why. It's their own problem. If their indirect costs are that high, it's their own problem. It's not my fault. If we can do the research more efficiently, less expensive at Kansas State University or KU, then let's move it there.
Thank you, Dr.